Hello everyone, this is John Braun with Hitman Advertising. Tonight we're doing a special commercial marketing question and answer webinar. We're going to take a little while and answer some of the questions that I've gotten during the week. And also, if we have time, we might be able to take a few of the questions from you guys here live on the webinar. Now remember, we're really only going to make this webinar recording. Unless the recording doesn't turn out well, it will be available for everybody who registered for the webinar and asked a question, and or if you're in the coaching club, you'll obviously get a copy of this webinar. We don't know if we're really going to make it available to anybody else. So you guys are here, that's great. Hang out, you're going to get the most out of it, and you'll be able to ask even clarifying questions. If you want to have any more questions after the initial question, if you want to dig deeper into that subject. Now the only drawback is we do want to limit this to about an hour. Usually I like to limit these to an hour because people start to lose interest and the recordings start to get really long and hard to upload and that type of thing. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. Before we do that, though, just a quick 30-second commercial. We do have a commercial marketing course where we actually give, I'm going to be talking about this later, where we have more into all of this, and we have it on special right now. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later right now. Just wanted to briefly mention that to you guys. Also in the Ad Coaching Club, if you become a member of the Ad Coaching Club, a lot of you guys that are on the webinar right now are already a member, but if you become a member or if you are already a member, you get access to the commercial marketing course where we give some of the sales letters and postcards and more training on how to do this, some of the actual tools. Tonight we're going to talk a lot about the logistics in doing this, and even show you some of the examples of how to do this. So here we go. Buckle in your seatbelts, and I got a lot of good questions, so we're going to go ahead and get going. Now the first thing that I want to do is give everybody the link to this commercial marketing plan so that you can kind of follow along on your own computer. Now the thing that I always sometimes hesitate, let's see here. Everybody should see that. If not, let me know, but it should be in your go-to webinar chat area. Control panel is at hitmanadvertising.com/commercial marketing plan.pdf. The other reason, too, why I want to limit this to an hour, I've had a kind of a cold the last few days. I've been drinking tea with lemon and honey. Hopefully, my voice is going to last through the hour. So just if anybody's wondering why it's already even maybe a little bit more scratchy than normal, I've been drinking tea, and hopefully that's going to alleviate that. But we didn't want to cancel the webinar. I definitely wanted to make sure that I was here for you guys for this. Getting a sip of tea there. So, okay, well, great. So let's dive right into some of the questions. Now, the funny thing is a lot of the questions that I have here are questions that are repeated over and over again, either from even past webinars, but also, too, even just in this one Q&A session. Some of these questions were asked by 5 or 6 people and almost the same exact question, right? If you asked a question, I may answer it exactly like you asked it, but I may answer it similar because somebody else asked it sort of similar. So keep that in mind. But if you need further clarification, that's why it's great that you're here on the webinar. If you need further clarification, by all means, ask me. I'll have the chat window open. I may or may not see it as soon as you ask the question. I may see it a few minutes later, but I'll try to catch it as soon as I actually ask the question. One of the first questions I have was actually from a gentleman in the UK. He's not going to be able to make the webinar, so he's going to get the recording later. And he's asking about well, this is sort of residential and commercial, but he's asking about EDDM postcards, every door direct mail, and first he's wondering if it's even available for commercial, and that's a common question that I get for you guys too. Can I do commercial EDDM? The answer to that is no. EDDM, you can do commercial and residential at the same time, but you can't do just commercial and only commercial. So that's a good question, and that's something to identify up front with that. The other question that he had was questioning about EDDM and how it's available in the UK. The best thing to do, they have a similar program. It's not exactly like EDDM. I know it's not called EDDM. Contact your postal service and ask them what options they have for commercial mailing. That's the best thing to do. Okay, another good question that I got from David is, can I use steam cleaning if I'm doing commercial instead of very low moisture? I don't like to do very low moisture. Can I use steam cleaning instead? Because the thing is, a lot of guys know that steam cleaning is sort of not really the popular thing, especially for commercial. Well, I like to go ahead and get this question. This is a good question to get out of the way up front. The thing is, it doesn't matter what method that you're doing, right? Your client hardly ever cares. I mean, sometimes they're going to specify that you use a certain method, so don't get me wrong. But I'd say 5, if not 8% of the time, they don't care. A little bit of a funny story. I had a contract to do a monthly cleaning at one of the largest, if probably the largest attorney's office in Northwest Florida at the time. And one of the largest well-known attorneys in almost all of Florida, but definitely in this whole half of Florida. It was basically, he's the head attorney in the office, and I'm over here trying out Host for the first time. We'd already been cleaning for them for about a year, so I'm trying out different methods, and they never cared about which method I was cleaning. We would steam clean some of the areas and dry clean some of the other areas and just do whatever. And I'm sprinkling Host down. Never used it before in my life. Sprinkling it down, and I'm about to, take the little Host machine and brush it in. And he walks by and he sees me throwing this powder down on the carpet, and he looks at me like, what? And he doesn't say anything. He's looking at me from afar. He looks at me kind of like, what the heck are you doing? And I just kind of looked at him and smiled and waved, and he just shook his head and he walked off. Didn't say anything else to me. So it was kind of funny, but I never got any feedback from him or anybody else later. We still cleaned for them for years after that, but they didn't care. I mean, as long as the carpet looks good, they don't care what method that you're using. So the answer to that question, can I use steam cleaning instead of low moisture or in cap? The answer is absolutely. Doesn't matter what method that you're doing. You need to do it profitably, though. So my little suggestion to you with that would be, make sure that you can steam clean profitably. Questionably, in larger areas, and the type of carpet that it is definitely makes a difference. If it's restaurants, you almost have to steam clean it, I think. And we're really not going to get into a whole lot of debate about methods. Again, that's not really my thing. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? But you might be able to clean for more profit if you're doing in cap or very low moisture. But again, what we do a lot of the times in our own cleaning business is we'll steam clean partial areas, dry clean other areas, especially when it's large areas of commercial. So there you go. Let's see here. Another Matt. I'll try to mention at least you guys' first name with some of these if I have it. Sometimes I don't always have it. Let's see. I think it's Matt. Okay, how to target jobs after 5 o'clock or during the day. He kind of wants to have a difference. What process do you have to separate different fields of commercial work, and how to get past the gatekeeper? So I guess he asked a 3-part question. And how to get past the gatekeeper is a common one. We're going to conquer that in just a minute. But instead, we'll talk about these other first questions that he got. How do I target jobs after 5 or during the day? How do I separate them? Well, it depends on who you're marketing to. And I'll tell you this right now. A lot of the times we like to go after predominantly, but definitely doctors' offices when we actually physically go after specifically certain groups of commercial. Doctors' offices, attorneys' offices, sometimes schools, not necessarily public, but private schools. All those places get cleaning during the day, ironically enough. A lot of the times the office secretary doesn't want to stay after hours. For the dentist, a dentist is another great one. And they have to have clean carpet. You can't have filthy, dirty carpet in a doctor's office or a dentist office or an orthodontist office. So I just listed 7 or 8 really good places for you guys to target. Now, should you go after public schools? Well, maybe. They're a lot harder to get into. Private schools are a lot easier. And we're going to talk a little bit about that method of how you actually find who those people are in just a minute. But really, it's in who you pick. If you're going to pick a restaurant, you're going to be cleaning at night. If you're going to pick an apartment complex, you're probably going to be cleaning during the day. Depending on the apartment complex, they're not always my favorite, but sometimes they can be good. It really depends on who you pick. You got to know who to pick. But if you want day stuff, I would say doctors, medical, smaller hospitals, maybe even go after larger hospitals too. Dentist offices, public schools, churches, people like that. Exactly. Trisha is mentioning she sends a letter and then follows up with, I guess, a phone call. Follows up a few weeks later with a postcard. A little bit of a mistake there. I wouldn't follow up a few weeks later. We're going to talk about the formula in a little bit, but I would follow up a week later. A few weeks later, they might have forgot about who you are. Okay? If it's a few days later or a week later, they might still remember. So you have to keep in with that repetition. How long after the first, so that's her question, how long after the first contact should I communicate with them again? A week, within a week. And usually a week, because I like for them to get the postcard or the letter on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So that's another writer downer right there too. It's ideal if you mail on a Monday. That way they get the postcard or mailer on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. On a Friday, what's on you guys' mind on Friday? The weekend, right? Same thing with the commercial manager. Same thing with anybody that you're marketing to. What's on your mind on Monday? Oh my gosh, I got to get all this stuff done and I got to reorganize all this stuff. Now, if you can actually make it to where they get it on a Monday, that's better than Friday, I think. But your best days to actually receive mail or for your prospect to receive it is going to be, even for commercial, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay, so make sure I answered all the rest of that. Exactly. Good. I think I did. Now we have a question from, let's see, John, but it's similar to the other question. Any ideas on commercial jobs during the day versus weekend? Absolutely. So we pretty much answered that one. Other general questions on how do I get commercial contracts? Again, I'm going to talk about that. That's sort of a big topic. We're going to talk about that in a minute. How can I be competitive in the commercial carpet cleaning market against the big guys? That's a great question. See, this is somebody who, when you ask these kind of questions, you're starting to think, and you need to open up your mind for thinking about that. One, I highly recommend that you write down a list of the benefits that your service gives over your competition. What do you do that's different than your competition? Do that for your residential too. But for your commercial work especially, write down how are you different. And maybe even include that list and that sheet in any of the prospecting that you do to your commercial prospects. And maybe even residential. Maybe even have that on your website. Here's what we do that's different from our competition. Here's what sets us apart. Here's why you should hire us over any other cleaning company in your city name. Right? So partially that, and you need to understand what all of those are. If you need to, make some of those up. Right? Oh, Michael's asking, what about daycares? Absolutely. For the most part, again, you got to get in with the right daycare. For me, I have not experienced great results with daycares because they want to have the dirtiest carpet, pay you later. They're almost as bad as restaurants. But they are day work. Well, no, they're actually more night work. I'm sorry. They're not necessarily day work. And they're night work. So they're kind of like a restaurant. But you can get in with some good daycares. So maybe, again, if you're getting your feet wet with cleaning and you're new in the industry, that might not be bad. Competing against the big guys. It's about having a wholesale system. Okay, and we're going to be talking and really diving into that later. So this is sort of an introduction. But really, you need to understand what you do that's different. Maybe come up with things that you do that's different. But you have to set yourself apart. Now, sometimes it is, like we talked about, maybe getting really good at encapsulation and being able to clean for a little bit less money, right? So that you can be, I'm not saying by any means that you need to be the cheap guy in town. That's not my point whatsoever. But yet, if you do encap, you can still make profit and be a little bit cheaper if it's encapsulation. And again, research that, maybe talk to Rick Jelanis at Excellent Supply. We've dealt with him a lot. Also, Larry Cobb at Cobb Supply. Google both of those guys. Very knowledgeable. Both of them can help. Who else is another good source? Some of you guys who do a lot of encap and a lot of low moisture to talk to. I've done an interview with Rick Jelanis, not with Larry, but I've done business with him for years. Who else can tell me another source to go to for learning about very low moisture, or I know there's a couple even boards on that. So maybe somebody will chime in with that later. But we're going to talk more about the system that you really have to get. Damon with Encap Store, exactly. Encapstore.com, exactly. So it's really about having that wholesale system down. And I always like to do something, not just from what I'm saying at Bill Eden at John Don, exactly, or just even John Don in general, exactly. I always like to do something, even in my marketing, that's different from my competition. And we're going to be talking a lot about that in just a little bit. You need to be thinking about that. Don't think, what are all my competitors doing? Let me do what they're doing. No, even if they're successful at what they're doing, you're going to be second rate in your client's mind. So your marketing has to be different. Your statements have to be different, right? And again, we're going to dive into that a little bit more in just a little bit. Let's see. Andy is asking my best advice for starting from scratch. First off, should I recommend, and this is another question too, along with that. Should I get into commercial from the beginning? Well, maybe. It's up to you. I probably would recommend that you do because it's good, sturdy steady income, right? I recommend that you do some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about with visiting and sending out letters and getting in on a small level, getting in for maybe even some restaurants, apartment complexes, doctor's offices, getting in and learning the trade that way. Learn how to clean and give good guarantees. Really, that's a big thing. And have a marketing plan. Have a plan about what you're going to do. Even before you really get in, if you're still at scratch, you maybe haven't really started full time yet. Before you really even get in, have a plan, solid plan. I planned for a year before I started my cleaning business, right? So get in and plan this thing. That's the big thing, and have a marketing plan and set yourself apart. Do the things that we've already been talked about. Best way to hire technicians, well, that's from Terrence. We're not going to really, this is a little bit out of the scope of what we're talking about here, but just briefly, I would probably look at Indeed, maybe Craigslist a little bit. What we like to do is have them leave a message on an old or a not used cell phone, right? That way we're not filtering all the calls, and then we're hearing their voice. We can tell if they sound like they might be talking on the phone to our clients, right? What do they talk like on the phone? Can they even leave a decent voicemail message, right? And then the ones that sounded decent, we call them back and we actually have them come in and we give them a quiz to fill out that lets us know if they know how to add and subtract, right? I mean, this is kind of funny, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we do. And then we interview them, and probably out of 50 people or 100 people, we might only interview 3 or 2. That's briefly on that. Will there be a replay? Yes, if you asked a question, and I guess you did there, Sean. So, okay. So let's see. Is this training for beginners? Yes, absolutely. With no employees? Absolutely. Some of the stuff that we're even going to be talking about, I did myself as a beginner with no employees. How can I move into subcontractor position with a company that I am currently employed with to provide janitorial services? That's a good question. So you're actually employed doing janitorial services and you want to be a subcontractor for carpet cleaning. That's going to really depend on the owner of that company or manager of that company. Really, it just needs, here's my suggestions on that. If you can get your labor rate for this is with commercial and even residential. With commercial, it might be a little bit better, but it's similar. Your labor rate should be 25% or less, ideally. So meaning for every $100 that you do, it should cost you $25 in labor. Now, what you got to understand from you being a self-employed person, that's just for you getting paid, $12, $15 an hour, but you also need to make a profit on top of that. So I would recommend that you at least, if I was doing it subcontracted, I would want to get at least 50% of the job. If not, and that would be bare minimum. I mean, really, I really would look toward, because that's probably not even, if all the other expenses, depending on how much other stuff they're giving you, even with your equipment and stuff, that's not enough. No, so scratch that. Really, I'd probably look at 70, 80%, if you can, even 90%. I mean, 90% they're probably not going to go for you getting that much of it, but they probably would go for 70 or 75% is what I would think. And then work that out with them. Really, it's really all between you and the subcontractor. You did have some other questions. Unfortunately, I'm not keeping up with the questions as they're coming in, so I apologize, guys. I was trying to. David's mentioning, can you break down targets for morning, afternoon, and night? And yes. And why don't we do that right now since we're thinking about it? We already did a little bit. For morning, well, I don't know if I can really distinguish between morning, afternoon, but maybe during the day and night, I can do that. Your day people that you're going to clean for commercial, again, private schools. If you can get in public schools, probably them too. Doctors' offices, dentist offices, attorneys, anything medical related, hospitals, anything like that. Libraries on occasion. We've done driver's license offices, that type of thing. But sometimes even just regular office complexes can be done during the day on a Saturday. In fact, the one lawyer's offices that we always used to do, some of the times we do that on a Saturday afternoon, that type of thing. Or some of the times that it might have to be at night, but it's not Monday through Friday during the day. So those are really the majority of them. So at night, a lot of times you're going to be looking at restaurants, daycares. Day work too also is apartment complexes. Again, not always my favorite, but sometimes there are some sweet apartment complexes, right? So at night, also retail stores at the mall or any retail stores that you might clean at. Sometimes when they're chains like that, they're harder to get into. So, and this is the thing we're going to talk about in a minute, but basically you want to try to cater to getting to people that aren't necessarily a chain business because they're harder to get to. That's why I said not a public school, but a private school. Somebody where you can actually get in quickly and right in front of the decision maker. Those are kind of the majority. Anybody else have anything to add to that for who would be day versus night? These type of things. And again, some of the times it just depends on when they want it done. But a lot of the times that's the case. If it's medical related, you're going to do it during the day. Apartments, probably during the day. Those type of things. A lot of times where there's people there and you're there to clean for after the employees, you have to be there when the employees are gone, like at offices and that type of thing. So either Saturday, Sunday, or at night. Right, yeah, medical facilities are great. Daycare centers, call centers. Yes, we used to do a call center. I think they left, but definitely a call center. Let's see. Tony's mentioning end cap or brush or pad. I don't know. Whatever. Probably with a brush is going to be quicker. A pad, though, is maybe going to clean more thoroughly because you're actually absorbing oil. So here's what I always tell my employees, by the way, when they're going in to do commercial. It's going to be a series of clean well where it needs it and clean everything. I mean, we're not going to skimp on anything that we said we'd clean. We're going to clean all of it. But really go over, maybe use the pad in the areas that need it. Maybe steam clean over the areas that need it. The areas that aren't that bad, dry clean over those areas, right? Spend the time in the spots that really need it and go quicker over the areas that don't really need it that bad, right? Make sure you're still doing it all, but you don't have to spend as much time. Right. Having a maintenance program is one of the things, too, that somebody had actually asked about. What do I do about setting up a maintenance program? And should I actually ask for contracts whenever I go out? And the question, there is, I don't usually do contracts. And again, you can, really it's up to you. But the thing about contracts is what happens if they're not happy? I mean, they're going to want to get out anyway. If anybody's not happy, I'm going to let them out, right? Sometimes they feel more secure about not signing a contract. I mean, there have been times where we've had contracts, but a lot of times that's not how we do it. But maybe a maintenance program encouraging them, a written maintenance program that you give them that encourages them to get cleaning within X amount of time, within 3 months, within 2 months. That gives them a discount when they get that done. And make sure that every time you clean for them, especially at the beginning of the relationship, you let them know that you clean within X amount of time again, and you're going to get 10%, 15, 20% discount. That type of thing. So absolutely set up that type of maintenance program. Really, really good idea. David's mentioning it as an 80-20 split with his subcontractors. So in other words, his subcontractor gets 80%, he gets 20%. Absolutely. Or whenever he does subcontracting work, he'll get 20%. George is mentioning, how do I price commercial? And that's a good question for like $15,000. Here's the thing about prices, guys. Price depends on what is it costing you to do the work. Honestly, if you're steam cleaning, it's going to cost you a little bit more. If you are doing low moisture, if you're doing in cap, it's probably going to cost you a little bit less. It also depends, too, on how dirty the carpet is. Depends, too, on how much furniture you're going to have to move, right? A lot of variables. It depends, too, on, here's a big thing with hotels. I didn't even mention hotels, but yeah, hotels are huge in that a lot of times you're going to clean those during the day. I mean, and then too, they're also going to have some of the things of water restoration problems and things like that. It depends on, with hotels, this is a big issue. Are the rooms blocked out? In other words, are you going to clean all of the rooms on floor 5 today, and then all the rooms on floor 3 tomorrow? Or are you going to come today and clean 3 of the rooms on floor 2, 2 of the rooms on floor 4, and 5 of the rooms on floor 6. That's a pain in the neck, and it's going to take you a lot more time to do it. So especially when you're doing hotels and apartments, it's important to ask where these are at. How are they blocked? And then always write into the potential estimate, whenever you give the price, we give a discount if all these rooms are consistent in the same area. If they're farther than X amount of space away, there might be a higher charge for those units. Write that into the paperwork, because otherwise they'll tell you at first, oh yeah, they're all going to be blocked, and you get there on cleaning day and they're not blocked. And now it's going to take you 2 more hours of just moving your hoses around to do the job, right? So you have to address all that stuff. David's mentioned, and we do written agreements for pricing structures. Exactly. For if you're doing a pricing structure and committing to a price, I would do written agreements for that if they want that type of thing. What is the best way? Okay. So let's go ahead and talk now a little bit about really the best way to get in with these people, right? Because that's, almost everybody's got, not almost everybody, but that's one of the biggest common questions. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'll show you even a few marketing pieces, that type of thing. One, make sure you're going after specifically the commercial clients that you want, right? Same thing whenever I do every door direct mail or neighborhood marketing. I don't go after people that I kind of want a little bit, right? I go after the ideal, supreme, best client I could get my hands on, right? And I give them a great offer, and we go all out. When we bother to actually market to commercial, that's the name of the game. When I bother to do EDDM, that's the name of the game. I'm not sending the stuff to a cruddy neighborhood, a cruddy small, lower income neighborhood, right? Commercial, I'm going to be marketing mostly to the people that, for us, we like to clean during the day a lot. So a lot of times we target churches, medical facilities, that type of thing. So what you want to do, and the other question I always get is, do you go visit them first? That's a big question. Do you visit them first or do you send them a letter first? Well, the thing is, it costs you a lot of time and money to go visit these people, right? So why not, when you do go visit them, why not precede yourself with a sales message before you ever go step foot in their office? Why not precede yourself with a letter and a couple of postcards before you ever go see them? When you do that, when I've done that, you actually get, sometimes, people go, hey, I remember you. I saw your picture in that letter and that postcard that you sent. Absolutely. And then they're more receptive to talk to you. At that point, they might even remember who you are. So that's huge. So the best thing to do is go ahead and get a mailing list going, which, by the way, coincidentally, I mentioned this before too. We do have mailing lists available right now if anybody needs some. If you're part of the ad coaching club, I'll give you one mailing list for free on any given month. If you are part of the commercial package, I'll actually give you 3 mailing lists for free. That is an extra bonus for signing up for absolutely no charge. And if you want additional ones after that, we can get you more at a very low cost. We do have a source to be able to get pretty good mailing lists. So what you want to do is you want to get a list. You can compile one yourself online by using Yelp or Google or whatever. Put it all into an Excel spreadsheet. And then you want to turn around and call each one of those businesses. Don't just assume that information is correct, by the way, because you've got some of the work done there with that mailing list, but it's not everything that you need. So the best way to do this is to call each one of those businesses and ask them who the person is in charge of hiring a cleaning company. This is actually in that. I'll copy this again and give this to everybody here. But this is the guide with the 21 tactics. So the first thing, buy a list or compile a list online. Or you can get one again at no charge in the ad club or as part of the commercial marketing package. Find out who is in charge of hiring a cleaning company. Call each one of those places. If you're going to bother to even go see them, why just go see them sight unseen and go try to look for them when they might be out of business, right? Do 2 minutes of work and call each one of these people and find out specifically who is the person in that office in charge of hiring a carpet cleaning company or maid service or whatever type of cleaning company that you do. Pressure washing. I know we got some of the guys in the webinar that do that. So you ask them who that person is so that now you write that person down on your Excel spreadsheet or whatever you're using to keep track of all of this. And now you've got a golden way in to be able to market specifically to that person. Now, when you call, don't ask to talk to that person, right? Because you want the first thing from him to be, I like it to be a sales letter, because then that's very intrusive or non-intrusive. I really don't like it when people call my office demanding to talk to me. Do you guys enjoy that? When you a telemarketer, somebody calls trying to sell you something, it's not that enjoyable, right? But if you send them an intriguing letter in the mail that is whimsical and gives a good guarantee, gives a good offer, it means a whole lot more. So find out who that person is. Now, and again, here we've got 2 different routes of doing this. This is my second way, but the first way that I like to do is first send that person a 3-sequence letter or mailing sequence. And sometimes it might be the first one might be a letter, the second one might be a postcard, the third one might be a postcard. And do it in the sequence that we talked about a minute ago. Send one this coming Monday. Send another one a week after that. Send another one a week after that. So 3 weeks in a row, they're getting something from you. After that third week, go visit them, right? Sometimes they'll call you before that, but now you're going to visit them, and they're some of the times already knowing who you are, at least, and you put that person's name on that letter or on that postcard. So most of the time it is actually going to that person, and you just recently called to verify that he was the one in charge of hiring a cleaning company. So unless the secretary got something wrong, they are indeed the person in charge of hiring a cleaning company, right? So what you want to do is send them that sequence first, and then after that sequence, go call or visit them, whatever you feel like doing. Now, keep in mind, some of these guys that just go, well, I just like to go out and I like to visit. I don't like to send stuff in the mail. I just like to visit. Well, how much is your time worth? If you're saying that you go out and you do cleaning and you make $150 or even $100 an hour and you can do that cleaning, well, why in the world would you go wasting your time trying to look for all these offices and see where they're at, not even knowing who the real person is in charge of hiring a cleaning company? Why do that when you can just send a letter for 50 cents, right? And then after that, a postcard for 35 cents, right? Why in the world do that? Yeah, it takes you a little bit of time to put the thing in an envelope and send it out, but still so much less time than actually going out to find them. Have you guys done very much actually driving around with a mail route and freshly trying to find offices like this? Oh my gosh, I have. And sometimes even after I've compiled this list and have talked to these people, I've gone out and you can't find the place sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's evident, and then you know exactly who they are. But some of the times you're finding it, and then you go in and talk to Joe, and Joe's not there. And you talk to somebody else, and okay, well then what do you do? Well, tell Joe I stopped by, and then you're gone. That's so expensive. So expensive. So precede yourself with a letter. Sometimes you get a call solicited from that. Then sometimes, too, you go in, and then you stop by, and then you give them one of your cards with maybe the same picture, or maybe even the same letter, same postcard that you've already sent them. And then you write on it, I stopped by to see you. And now he's really interested because now he really knows you're a real guy because you stopped by to see him. And now he's really interested, right? So it just, you get a lot more bang for your buck, really, in your time when you do it this way. After you do that process, sure, go ahead and visit them. When you do, I recommend that you bring some treats or goodies or something, maybe a little gift bag. I'll show you kind of an example of that in just a minute. Definitely some literature, maybe a brochure, because again, you want to set yourself apart. So the other question that we had a minute ago, how do I set myself apart? How do I get this kind of thing? How do I get the right price? Well, don't just walk in and say, hey, I want to talk to Joe about carpet cleaning. Joe doesn't care, right? Joe's busy. If you already had sent him letters that were again, whimsical and interesting to him, with an offer that's interesting to him, giving him benefits of what you can do to help him look better, because that's the big thing, by the way, with commercial. How can he look better to his prospects? Then it's going to mean a whole lot more, right? So you stop by, and if Joe already knows you, then it's great. But if you stop by sight unseen, Joe's busy. He doesn't necessarily want to talk to you. So make him want to talk to you. But then when you do go by, bring treats. Bring a little goodie bag with your sticker on it. Maybe some famous Amos cookies or Chips Ahoy cookies. Everybody loves that stuff. A brochure, professionally printed brochure, either on commercial cleaning or on carpet cleaning or tile cleaning or maid service or whatever. But again, with benefits inside of that brochure about what you do that's different. And then even after you see Joe, whether you saw him or not, follow up with a sequence of mailing after that. Again, your time it's expensive. If you make $100 an hour and you were to go visit Joe, that's going to cost you just your time, not even to mention the cost of your vehicle and your gas. I mean, that's the cheap part, right? But even that's probably $10 to go see Joe, right? Your vehicle and even if it's on a route, it might be a little less if it's really on a route where it's really close. But without just the $5, I mean, you could have sent him a letter for 50 cents, right? So you're talking $5 to go actually physically see him. But then your time's worth $100 an hour. You're not going to get in and out of there, even if he's not there. You're going to just leave stuff or a brochure or whatever and walk away. Going to find him and going in and all of that, you're talking about at least 15 minutes. So you're talking about $30, right? Precede yourself with a sales letter. Works so much better. And then repeat that process. And again, I would repeat each one of these processes. Start with the process of sending the letters. And then after you've done that for a sequence, visit them. And then maybe repeat that process again, or maybe go back to the other process and do this. Only, again, don't do this to absolutely everybody, but only specifically for the commercial clients that you really want. The ones that you've handpicked in your neighborhood, the ones that you've bothered to call, verify that they're still in business, because they may or may not be, and verify exactly who the person is in charge of hiring a cleaning company. Right? Good. Before we get to more of the live questions, I still might be able to do more. I still need to get to some of these, because a lot of the time some of you guys asked almost the same type of question, but I still need to get some of the ones that were asked on the webinar as we're registering. So what's the easiest way to do pricing quickly? Figure out how much it costs you to do that job. And again, I can give you some basic prices, because I know sometimes but these vary, right, greatly. I'd say as little as 10 cents a square foot if it's very clean, and maybe you can do some very, very low moisture. Some guys do it for less than that and still make a lot of money, right? But it depends on how you're cleaning. We really never do it for less than that, even if it's real clean, and even if, just depends on how much furniture you're moving. But for commercial, I mean, if it's a smaller area, we're going to charge our regular residential prices. But it depends too on how much you're doing and how easy it is to do. Maybe 20 cents a square foot. On average, probably 20, 25 cents a square foot, right? Sometimes more. Sometimes less. Very rarely, if ever, have we ever gone under 10 cents. And that's only 10 cents if we're doing like at least 5,000 square feet of clean carpet. And it's got to be really clean carpet. No furniture moving. No hoops to jump through during the day. By the way, we do charge more if it's at night. And it's usually at least a flat $100 additional, because it's usually going to be overtime, and or our employees want to get paid more. Right? That's just a quick one. What are some of the best ways to target medical? I think we've kind of already talked about that. Get that mailing list of doctor's offices, dentist office, whatever, and do the process that we just talked about. And we're going to look at some letters here in just a second. How can I generate more cleaning clients? I think we've already covered that part. Here's kind of a good one. And again, this is somebody that's thinking here. This is from Jim. How is selling to commercial different than consumers? Well, here's the biggest thing. You got to remember that the commercial business manager, the guy in charge of hiring a carpet cleaning company, he doesn't care as much about, maybe he does care about all the same things. It has to look good, all of that. But you need to understand that his major motivation is either to appease his boss, or to appease, if he's the owner and he has a stock in the company, than it is to appease his employees and or his clients and customers coming in. So you need to approach anything that you sell him based on that. So it's not, we're going to make your office look beautiful. Who cares? That's not what he cares about, right? Your employees are going to be happier if he's the manager or the owner. Your customers, when they come in, and your clients, when they come in to see your carpet, they're going to feel better about your environment. They're going to feel better about your office or your store. You might actually sell more because you have a clean store. These are the type of things, or if it's the manager, will make you look good to your boss and to the people that are over you, right? Because we're going to do a good job. We're going to always be there for you. So it is different in that aspect. Almost everything else, really, almost the same. I mean, sometimes it is easier to actually go in because you can do physical, door to door after you do a mailing. But again, I would precede myself. Don't let that fool you. Precede yourself with a letter if you want to save some time. So what are commercial accounts looking for? I think I just mentioned that. Would you use a different pricing structure for commercial? Only if it's not really, in a nutshell, no, not really. Only different if they're getting a lot of cleaning done. It's only bulk. But if a residential customer has me come in and do their 10,000 square foot house, that'll be cheaper too, right? They don't get a discount just because they're commercial. I remember this one lady was insane about that one time that had a small commercial job. But it's commercial. I'm like, yeah, but you're only having me clean 300 or 400 square feet. There are no discounts. Or maybe it was like 500 or 600. I don't remember. But there are no discounts there, right? So, only if you're making more money. It's not a discount just because it's commercial. What are the most important vertical commercial industries? By that, I'm not sure if you mean like marketing to retail, or I'm not sure exactly how you mean by vertical, but definitely even marketing to carpet retailers and really even getting referrals from them, and realtors are a really, really good thing. So, and that's something we might talk about a little bit if we have time, but I'm not sure that we'll have much time. Again, somebody who's a first year cleaner, Bill, how do I overcome? I've got a guy already, and that's a great question. So I got a guy already. And here's the thing, guys. And here's how this is beautiful with the sending this letter sequence. I got a guy already. Well, that guy didn't have the same guarantee that I mentioned in that letter. At least I highly doubt it. That guy didn't send an intriguing 3-letter sequence and then come visit me with goodies. I seriously doubt it. That guy didn't send me a second 3-letter sequence a month later and visit me again with goodies and promise me that he's going to do a great job for me. But if I'm ever in front of somebody that's actually saying, I've got a guy, that's why you first send the letter sequence, because at least then you might have said something in there that intrigued them. So I got a guy I'm totally thrilled out of my mind with. Well, that's great. Keep us in mind. We're here for you. And I would still mark it back to them. Now, if they're repeatedly telling you, we're thrilled beyond, recognition of the purple people that we're currently using, that's fine. Just keep us on your database. If he ever can't be there for you, give us a try. We'd love to be able to earn your business. That's always the statements that I would make with carpet stores if they're saying, well, we already refer somebody else. Or a realtor or a commercial prospect, any of those. That's fine. You agree with them anytime you can. Great. Oh, I'm glad you're happy with them. 'Cause there's a lot of bad cleaners out there. If they ever can't meet your needs, though, and if they can't ever get to you, and or they're dropping the ball and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're here for you. We promise that we're going to do a great job for you. And leave some of your stuff with them. And again, I would just put them on your regular mailing list. If it's somebody that you really want to get in with, put them on your regular mailing list, and you'd be surprised sometimes how later on they'll actually call you. So how do I get past the gatekeeper? Okay. Great question. One of the preliminary questions. If you're doing it according to this, you're sort of past the gatekeeper. A lot of times these letters are going to get past the gatekeeper into the guy that you want to hit. Keep in mind that the guy that you want to hit and talk to isn't necessarily the owner or the president or the main guy of that building. That's where a lot of you are going wrong. It's the guy in charge of hiring a cleaning company. That's why you specifically call, talk to the receptionist, and go, hey, this is John. I mean, sometimes I mention the company that I'm with. Sometimes I don't. I just want to find out who the person is in charge of hiring a cleaning company. And maybe sometimes they'll say, well, I'll transfer him to you. I don't want to talk to him. I just want to know who that person is. I want to send him a little packet. Oh, great. I mean, and a lot of times the receptionist is going, great, now I get on and off the phone with you, and Jim's not going to get mad at me because I gave him a telemarketer, and it's all good, right? So you're getting past the gatekeeper. You just call who's in charge of hiring a cleaning company. Great. I don't want to talk to him. I just want his name. Get his first and last name if you can. Then send him a letter. Send him an intriguing letter with a great offer. Send him a second sequence, send him a third, and then go visit him. Some of the times Jim already knows who you are. And if you're there in the office and, if it's a person in charge of hiring a cleaning company, chances are he's accessible, guys. Right? He's not the president of the place. So how do I get commercial property managers, not apartment managers, but actual commercial property managers? Doctors' offices, all under one roof, that type of thing. Some of the times you need to actually, if you're looking for specifics like that, you need to actually do some footwork. And again, a lot of what makes marketing, and especially advertising, profitable, guys, is your homework before you do the darn advertising. Targeting in and honing in on somebody specific and knowing that you really, 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 really want them. And here's the thing, too. Whenever I have a list of guys that I really, really, really want to do business with, I'm more passionate about that. You will be, too. Right? If you actually went in and did the footwork to find the right neighborhood or to find the right doctor's office complex, you go in and you write down who that is, look up the addresses, or get the mailing list and pick them out of there, call and find out who, you're doing some homework and then you're marketing to them. You're more passionate about it. So specifically find who those are. Now, your question for commercial property managers, you can get mailing lists for just property managers. Just look up property managers that aren't necessarily apartments, but property. Sometimes, too, you got to do your homework and figure out if they are apartment managers or not. But you need to know your market. You need to dive into this and know your market. That's really the big thing there. Let's see. How do I determine and implement a percentage increase and pay for commercial? We've already talked about that. An 80-20, 70-30, something like that. Where if you're contracting it out, you're paying 70%, maybe 80%. If you're doing it for somebody, you're getting paid 80%, 70%. And yeah, this should actually be discussed prior to the initial. Definitely anything should be done with business ever before it starts. You don't have an employee start and then go, oh, by the way, here's how much I'm going to pay you. That's the way for everybody to end up on the short end, right? Almost, not every time, but a lot of the time. Okay, well, and then the other question along with that was, how do I actually start charging them more down the line? Well, look at what your costs are. A lot of the times, I mean, it definitely is permissible to raise your prices. Keep in mind, though, sometimes you raise your prices and that's a reason for them to X you, right? But if you've been doing a great job, you're a little bit more likely to keep the account. You're actually a lot more likely to keep the account. But, it really depends on if your costs have rose. Don't raise it just to make it rise. I wouldn't anyway. But if gas prices go up, if minimum wage goes up, and you got to raise, give a raise to your employees, even if hopefully you're not paying them minimum wage, but even if you're paying them a little bit over minimum wage goes up, and you got to raise your prices a little bit. So really, just let them know that, this happened and this is why we got to raise our prices a little bit. Just let them know in writing and or, a lot of times they're going to understand, especially if it's for a reason. You need to have a reason why you're doing that. And then somebody else is mentioning that he's getting older and he's wondering if he should really get into doing commercial versus residential. Well, my recommendation, if you're getting older, 50s, 60s, I don't know, whatever, get employees, guys. And the thing about commercial, if you're going to be out with them, a lot of the times I would be out on a commercial job, and I'd be out working my butt off too, but I would definitely be doing a lot of work too, just managing them and while, showing them how to do it. Then once you actually get somebody reliable, then you can send them out on commercial jobs by themselves without you even going. I'm going to show you guys in just a minute some of the letters that we got here. I want to make sure we got a lot of other questions. I'm not sure that I'll be able to get to all of them that you've asked on the webinars we're going through here. Nursing homes can be a good one too. That's one that I kind of skipped over. That's sort of in medical, kind of. But sometimes they need to be done early, but a lot of times it's at night, but nursing homes could be good. Do you charge by the hour or square foot? I'd charge by the square foot, especially with commercial, for sure. There might be a few things where you charge by the hour, but almost always by the square foot. And again, I'm not going to mandate and obviously tell you what to charge, but anywhere in the industry norm is as little as 8 cents. If you're doing a lot of in cap and it's a big, big, big area, to as much as 40, 50, 60 cents a square foot. Average might be 25, 30, 35, somewhere in that neighborhood. Somebody went to Info USA. Is there an easier way besides Google? Jason, if you're part of the ad club, I can actually get one mailing list for you once per month. If you're not part of the ad club, I can get you some too for a charge, probably less than what Info USA actually has, and it's in an Excel spreadsheet, but let me know. Info USA is good, but here's the thing too about mailing lists like that. Why it's sometimes better to just compile it yourself, or we can get you a good mailing list too. They're not all 100% accurate. I mean, I bought fresh databases from Info USA and looked at it later and figured out, well, some of these businesses are closed down or the address is wrong. So all of it's going to have some error to it. So keep that in mind. That's why you want to call them all, right? And go through that paperwork. Right. Jeffrey's asking, do you send them a few letters and go see them? We've already talked about that. And then, like David Hebert's mentioning, which by the way, I'm going to be interviewing David, I think next week is when we had scheduled it. Then I'll record that and give that to some of you guys. But he does a lot of commercial. He's mentioning that doing a lot of what we have in the commercial marketing package is lumpy mail. In other words, things that are a letter with something bulky inside to where they almost have to open up the letter and look and see what's inside, right? Too intriguing not to. If I were recommending I've already talked about that, recommending per square foot. So you call and find out who the decision maker is, send them an intro letter followed by another postcard, followed by another postcard or another letter and another letter. And then wait a month and then send another different sequence, a 3 sequence. In between that, go see them, go visit them and actually see if they're receptive. At what point do you stop mailing? Or what point do you stop going to see them? That's a good question. Depends on how good of a client he really is and how much you really want that client, right? If it's a really, really good, sweet account, I'd maybe market to him for a year or two before I stopped. Every month or every other month, a sequence of 3 letters, right? That's cheap to do. And go visit him once every couple months, right? If it's kind of not that great of an account anyway, I'd probably do it for a few sequences and stop. Or maybe stagger the sequences out. Don't do them every month, but do them every quarter, maybe for a year, something like that. Let's see here, Robert. But you got to keep in mind, that's why, guys, you need to find out who this is. Really have it in your mind that you really, really have a goal to get in with these people, right? Yeah, and Robert Martin mentioned that when he started doing all of this stuff, and I know he's been in the ad club for a long time, when he started pre-qualifying and targeting, he got a 7 out of 10 response with mail offers and intros. Did you hear that, guys? Right? And this is somebody who's been doing this, with us for a while. When he started pre-qualifying and really targeting and having that person in mind, calling them and finding out who the person is in charge of hiring a cleaning company, he would get a response of 7 out of 10 people would respond to his offers and to his intros when he would go out to see them. Huge. That's huge, guys. So this, if you don't want to waste your time, do this, what I'm talking about. Send letters first. Exactly hone in on who this person is and then go visit them. Avi is mentioning he only one time that he did 10 cents a square foot. That was for 80,000 square feet. Exactly. Like I said, I think we've done 10 cents when it was like 8 or 9,000. I can't even remember, but it was very, very clean carpet. That I don't even know why they got it clean, just to say they got it clean or just for maintenance. Let's see here. How about getting more extraction and flood jobs? Almost the same kind of thing. That's really not really in the context of what we're talking about. Other than, if you do apartment complexes and property managers and even a lot of big commercial places, you're going to get flood jobs. I mean, just by default, you will. Marketed realtors, you'll get flood jobs. Let's see. Do you think that it's good to give 2 to 3 different prices for the same job, like in packages? Yeah, absolutely. So say we do this and we'll pre-vacuum with this one, or this will actually include a warranty for no spots returning. This one we won't, that type of thing. Absolutely. Tony's mentioning, how can we hook up with maid services? Often janitorial really is what you're going to be looking at. Same kind of thing. And I've even got letters in the commercial marketing package on that, really calling them up and saying, hey, by the way, we do carpet cleaning or tile cleaning, whatever you happen to do. And I understand that you guys don't. Well, we don't do janitorial, so why don't we hook up and I can give you a percentage. But first, market to them. Send them the letter first. Tell them who you are. Tell them how you're different, because they're skeptical. They're worried that they're going to hire an unreputable company. Let them know about your reputation. Let them know what you do that's different, just like with everybody else. Jeffrey's mentioning he really likes Robert Martin. Yeah, absolutely. So good. I want to go ahead and show you guys just a few letters here. I had one of them pulled up just to kind of show you what we're looking at, right? So this is what I call the golden ticket letter, right? And sometimes we get these golden tickets, we can get them printed up where they look really nice. We can get them printed up real cheap. I mean, like 1,000 of them for like $30-$40. I can't remember, but not much. It's where they look really good. So it's, kind of like the Willy Wonka golden ticket thing. So here's your golden ticket to always have a clean carpet and floor. We have versions of this, by the way, for janitorial, and we don't really have any for pressure washing yet, but I actually intend on making some. So it's your no obligation and no hassle, dear, and you've got the guy's name, so you did a mail merge there, right? Congratulations, here's your golden ticket. And within that, he's actually opening up this golden ticket that we actually either printed, we actually had professionally printed, or you can actually print them up on your own printer. We kind of have the template for this too. You print it up on your color printer, you cut it, and he's got his golden ticket, and it's it's got a certain expiration date on it, that type of thing. And it can be for $50, $100 of cleaning, but it's basically a certain amount of cleaning. $50 is the lowest I would go for commercial, by the way. Anything less than that doesn't mean anything. Maybe $100, is a really good one. Maybe even more than that if it's a big area, right? So let them know right up front, why are we giving you this golden ticket? Reason why advertising. Well, here's why. Instead of spending money on advertising, that's kind of what you're doing here, but in local newspapers, I decided to give you this no obligation offer. Let me explain. Here's why our commercial clients love us. And in these things that we talked about, you're going to look great. When your floors look good, you look good, right? We'll reduce, and we don't know there if they're the employee or if they're, in general, but they're going to look good to somebody. That's what they're looking for. We'll reduce their stress. We're going to save them money. We're going to minimize downtime so that there's not going to be a lot of time taken out for, you're going to reduce downtime. You're going to make it convenient, because that's the big thing too. When they hire cheap carpet cleaning and other cleaning companies, it's just not convenient. It's a hassle, and they know that. And then you're going to give them very thorough cleaning. You're going to give them testimonials, and then you're going to let them know that here's your special offers. You're going to have free bottles of spot remover, and you're going to give them a special thing that's only good for a certain amount of time. Give them an expiration date to respond, and let them know that they're going to get this certain area and the gifts again in the PS, and send this to them. And then a week later, follow up with something very similar that says, this is your second notice. And, then a third where it's either a postcard, because we have postcard versions of this, and or a letter again for the third. That's fine too. But something in 3 sequences, 1 week after another, letting them know that we're here for you and we want your business. And here's a special offer. And here's how we're going to make you look good. Now, the other thing that we do as well is we'll take and follow I'll show you some of the postcards that we've got here. We do also have $1 million. This is the postcard follow-up, but we have a letter as well. That's the $1 million letter. I think somebody even just mentioned that just a moment ago. I forgot who it was. I think Elizabeth. But we have $1 million letter that we'll send out that says, hey, we're going to make your floors look like, this is the postcard. And it's a 4x6 little postcard. This is a follow-up to the letter, but the first one said almost the same type of thing with a $1 million bill attached to it. Who else wants their... Okay, this one goes out to realtors. So who else wants their homes to look like $1 million? Realtors get their homes sold fast because that's what they're interested in, with beautiful floors and carpet. And we've got another $1 million one. This is the one for realtors. We've got another $1 million follow-up one on here. Another one too. Well, we got a golden ticket postcard. This is the postcard that we send to follow that up. It's actually a 4x6 postcard. Don't forget to redeem your golden ticket. The other side, and again, we get these printed up for like 1,000 of them for like $30, right? Cheaper than you can do them on your own. And they're professional, glossy, beautiful looking postcards. And again, something to just touch base. The printing's like a penny a piece, 2 pennies a piece. Postage is 35 cents. I can't remember what postcards are right now. Are they 35 cents, 34 cents, something like that? So for something 30-ish cents, you're touching base with them, right? We've got a while you were out postcard, which is kind of a memo. Especially this is one that's good to send if you went by to see them or, you obviously haven't been able to get a hold of them. I've been trying to get in touch with you, especially if you've already called them for a while. Please call about your cleaning. Please call. And then on the other side, it's got a, let's see. The other side, urgent, dear Bob, you don't even have to have their name if you're getting them bulk printed. This is John. I've been really trying to get a hold of you. And at this point, he probably knows that you've been calling him, right? So, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I know that I've given you this offer. It sounds too good to be true, but call me right away, et cetera, et cetera. This is the type of thing. And then some of the times we'll send out, this is a big 11x17 memo that we'll send out. Apologize for all that. That we'll send out, and it will be a something that it's 11x17 poster that we get them printed at like a printing shop or Office Depot, that type of thing. We have golden ticket for janitorial, a postcard that says it's been a while, a prescription bottle where we actually send a letter up in there, just other follow-up postcards, just kind of but it's about sending something unique and different. I mean, your competitors aren't sending this type of stuff. That's really kind of the main thing. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. So that's really what it's all about. So I just want to show you guys some of that. Right now, again, if you're part of the ad club, you get access at this time to the commercial marketing course at no extra charge. And you can also, we've got the commercial marketing course on special right now until the end of the year for $100 off. Normally it's $397. Currently right now it's $297. We've got it on special. We're going to relaunch this and be adding some more stuff to the commercial marketing package. So that's kind of why we're doing this. But we're going to be doing more training on this and more stuff. So this is just kind of an intro, just to kind of show you guys what to do, what's involved with doing this. Big, highest recommendation that I have for any of this stuff. Hone in on exactly who you want. Get their name, put them on a list, and go after them. Right? If there's any takeaway you get from this, do that. Pete's asking the link. Here's the link if you want information, if you want to sign up for the ad club. Here's the link for that. hitmanadvertising.com/coaching. So, all right. Well, any other last minute questions? Really don't. I had some other ones. I think I got to most of them. In a nutshell, I apologize. If you had any other specific questions, you can shoot me an email. But yes, the free commercial package, you'll be able to get that until December 31st. So for the next month. So sign up for that. Right now, too, if you sign up, you'll have some other fall bonuses that might not be available over the next week or two. So sign up for the coaching club if you're interested in that. We have holiday mailers available, postcards, brochures. We do have commercial. Somebody asked about that. We do have commercial marketing brochures or commercial brochures in general for commercial floor and carpet cleaning. Also carpet cleaning brochures, tile cleaning brochures. To see any of those, because somebody asked about those, you can just go directly to cleaningbrochures.com and you can see all of those. The commercial marketing brochure to order is right down here as well. You can even preview that. Check that out. But thank you for the guys who wished me getting better. I appreciate that. Yes, we do have stuff for residential house cleaning. That's not part of the commercial package, but we do have some stuff in the coaching club as well, or we can even do some customized stuff for you. But shoot me an email if you're interested in any of that. So good. All right, guys. Well, thanks. It's been great. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great rest of the week. Make money in the holidays. Get this stuff planned, guys. Do it. Make a lot of money. God bless. Have a great rest of the night. We'll talk to y'all soon.